Hello, welcome to day 2 of the 10-day Business Tuneup series. And yesterday, we discussed the mindset of cash flow, exactly what is cash flow and how the cash flow statement is different from the net income statement that you're used to. And how with the cash flow statement, you should be looking at 3 aspects: operating activities, financing activities, and investing activities. And you have to look at all 3 to determine what's really happening in your business. Because if you run out of cash, your business is going to go down. And you don't want that to happen. In today's session, we're going to focus more on the profitability aspect. And specifically, we're going to talk about something called the 80-20 rule. You often hear this on a frequent basis. And then we're going to talk about something called gross profit. So this is where we're all set to continue. Now, the 80-20 rule, this is actually known as Pareto's rule. That's where, in this case, we're applying 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your customers, or 20% of your products, or 20% of your services. It's just hinting at the bulk of your core revenue comes from a small number of items. And this is where it suggests that you should focus your time on those items that's giving you the greatest revenue. The other 80%, they tend to waste your time or they create low value for you. Now, they may bring in extra income, but you need to ask yourself, well, should I keep focusing on those low value items, or should I be focusing more on items similar to what's bringing me my key income now? Basically try to get more for each hour of your time. So that's the whole idea behind this 80-20 concept, is to maximize your efficiency and hopefully your profitability. So focus on the things that matter. So how do you apply this rule? Essentially, identify who are your high revenue customers or your high revenue services. Do you know who they are? If so, start making a list. Start looking at your non-profitable activities, like what is not generating income for you, or not insufficient income, or is not worth your while. And you need to keep monitoring this, because things do change over time. Maybe a product that becomes highly profitable now may not be as profitable a year from now because of changes in your cost structure. So you need to be able to track this. Now, one term that I really want to impress upon you is gross profit. And I'm going to start off with an example. About 4 or 5 years ago, just before COVID hit, I attended this conference down in Texas. And it was this online personality. He had this program where he encouraged people to make money, do an online course, make money. And one of the sessions, he had a group of 10 of his current clients get up and talk about their case study. Like, what did they do in their business? What kind of success they had? And it was very impressive. Everyone was getting up and saying, oh, I made $500,000. I made $600,000. I made $400,000. Like, it was impressive. They're all up there confidently saying they made all this money. And then about 6 or 7 presentations in, a couple ladies got up. And they were saying, yeah, we made $500,000. And I started to get puzzled because I sat at a table with them earlier in the day during another presentation where they were talking about this new product, and it had a whopping price tag of $99 to buy on that day. And these 2 ladies were bickering, saying, oh, I can't afford that. That's too expensive. And I'm saying, well, you're now getting in front saying you made $500,000. Something didn't match up. So they finished their presentation and moved on. And when we got to the 10th person, again, they started off by saying, yes, we made $600,000. But then they added one more. They said, we spent that entire $600,000 plus a bit more on Facebook advertising. And that's when it hit home. This particular person's business model was, yes, we'll help you develop a course, we'll help you promote it, but everyone was spending a fortune on Facebook and other forms of online advertising. That's where you have to ask yourself, how profitable is this course actually is? Did you make $600,000? No, they didn't. Zuckerberg and Facebook made the $600,000. You made zilch, or you may have even lost money depending on exactly how much advertising you spent. This is why I want to talk about gross profit. Basically, yes, a lot of people focus on the top line revenue, which is your total revenue. But I rather look at gross profit, which is your total revenue minus the direct cost of delivering that product or service. That's your true indication of how much money you have to cover all your remaining expenses, including your own salary. So this is why I want you to focus on gross profit, not total revenue. And this is where, by focusing on gross profit, you could end up looking at your business and the products and services you provide in a completely different way. So that takes us to our action plan. In your action plan today, I want you to identify what are the top 20% of your products or services that provide the 80% or the bulk of your revenue. What are the key activities that bring in your actual cash? Then, with these top items, I want you to actually go in and determine the gross profit yourself from each of these items. And then once you determine the gross profit, I want you to determine which products and services should you be putting your emphasis on. Now, this sounds like a lot, but it's not that bad. You can at least provide a rough estimate of what your gross profit is from each product. And again, in the worksheet I provided yesterday, under day 2, you have a worksheet you can fill out there as well. So if I just go to this spreadsheet, actually I threw in an example. This is going back to when I was involved with the tax franchise. Like, one of these ones that advertise, come in and we'll give you your cash on the spot. Well, those were the two main services. We had the cashback services where we gave them instant refunds, and then regular tax preparation services where we just charged a fee. And for the franchisor, the main head company, they always pushed us to promote the cashback service. That was the key service they wanted us to continuously advertise. That was the service they were promoting in a lot of their corporate advertising. They were pushing cashback. And they were arguing, well, look, you can make an average of $90 per return compared to $65 to do a regular tax return. Now, keep in mind, these are from 10 years ago, these pricing, but these are realistic numbers. And sure, yeah, it looks like I can make a lot more money with the cashback services. But keep in mind, this is gross total revenue. It's not my gross profit. Now, over to the right, I've got an area where you can fill in your direct costs. Now, this is where you may need to do some estimates. It's going to depend on how your income and expense statement is broken out already. Sometimes there is a section labeled cost of goods. That's probably what you need to enter here. Or if you're a retail store, typically your cost of goods is the cost of buying the inventory. That's your direct cost. In the case of more service-oriented businesses, yeah, that's where you need to be a little bit more creative. You don't have a direct inventory cost, but you have labor, and that's what I have here. Like this is where to do a cashback return, I had one and a half hours of labor at $18 an hour versus 1 hour of labor on average for a tax preparation. That's because I had to do more due diligence with a cashback. The big difference was commissions. The franchisor charged me 18% commission on $65, but for the cashback, they charged me 35% commission. So I'm paying about 3 times as much in commissions for each tax return. Then the franchisor charged me a couple dollars of administration costs for the pre-made checks and such. But another big item that I have with the cashback is shortages. This is where I'm giving people their money up front when they do their tax return. How do I know if the tax government is going to give me that money back? They may have cheated, and we do get that a lot with cashback. And it turned out that on average, I got 2% of the total tax refund was a shortage. So this worked out to an average of $24 per return, and I had to pay for that myself, not the franchisor. So when I keep scrolling over, not that much, this was my total cost was $84.50 for a return versus $29.70 for a tax prep return. So when I look at my gross profit, I was making a whopping $5.50 myself for every cashback return I did versus $35.30 for a regular tax return. And when I combine with that, with the fact that cashback customers rarely stick with you for more than a couple of years, whereas my tax prep customers many are long-term loyal clients, all of a sudden, are you getting a different picture? From the franchisor point of view and from their sales process, they were convincing me based on my total revenue, which, yeah, sounds convincing. I make more money. But once I look at the actual cost structure and look at my real gross profit, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you be willing to spend thousands of dollars every year advertising the potential to make $5 profit per return? Or would you rather be promoting tax prep returns at $35? Well, I took this one step further, and basically when I combine it with the fact that my average cost to get a new lead is about $90, well, even this one doesn't look too attractive. That's where I focus mainly on advertising for business returns, where the gross profit is much greater. It's more in the hundreds of dollars rather than $30. This is the power of looking at your gross profit. And this is why I spend a little extra time looking at this, because this is a valuable exercise that even if you just did this one step for your business, you're going to get so much more insight into the actual profitability of your products and services. Is going to help you in your marketing. It's going to help you determine which products you should be spending the actual marketing dollars on. It's going to allow you to look at the return on investment of your marketing investment. It opens up a lot of possibilities. And you're probably going to know more about your business than the average business owner knows right now. I come across very few people who work with gross profit. It's always either the total income or the bottom line net income from their tax return. So that wraps up my day 2 presentation. I strongly encourage you to go in, do this exercise for your own business. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask away in the Facebook group. Tomorrow, we're going to be moving on to our day 3 topic, which is looking at ways you could boost your cash flow. Start to gain some instant ways of getting more cash savings or reducing the amount of working capital that you need to keep your business going. So again, thank you for joining me for day 2. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in day 3. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.